Welcome to Fitness and Thinking, a podcast and newsletter fascinated with 6 pillars of wellness. We have the physical, mental, social, spiritual, emotional, financial. And in this lovely English garden, Luke and I have been chatting for most of the afternoon.
Yeah, a period of time. Yeah, man, it's been a lovely day, lovely company.
What's stood out for you, would you say?
Aside from the weather.
The weather's the main character in this.
Yeah, it really is. I have a tendency to sit and question things. It's nice just to be asked questions by somebody else rather than me. Work with clients, you just constantly questioning other people. Yeah, man, it's been nice, and obviously we've not had the opportunity to really meet up since you've moved here. So I've just really appreciated your time today. It's been fantastic.
Yeah. As a person, if you haven't seen me on Instagram with Coach Jackman, Luke is a major reason for me being in Nottingham. So it's a treat for me to just hang out with you outside of the gym as much as anything else.
Yeah, man.
Luke has an incredible coach, competitive bodybuilder, hopefully again this year, seeing him on stage.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be competing this year regardless. I'm not going to be. So I think I've put pressure on myself the last time I competed in 2022. I just was setting. It's not that there's nothing wrong with setting your sights too high, but after a couple of years of not doing anything, I think I just really intentionally set my sights too high, so I knew I couldn't win, so I couldn't succeed. So what I'm doing this year, I'm just going to go back into the PCA, just because PCA is just a much more smooth organisation. It's much more well run in my opinion. Every time I've competed with them previously, it's just been literally just fun. And you know, if you happen to do well and come away with a trophy, fantastic. But if not, you usually make some friends. Nobody's having the best day ever. It's pretty tough, but that's what kind of brings everybody together.
Make sure to give Luke a follow on his social media, Fitness and Thinking on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. And yeah, I hope you enjoy what comes up next. Phone on Do Not Disturb, that's always good, if we can.
Mine's literally on Do Not Disturb all the time.
Is that why you don't respond?
Seriously, it's on, and then I've even turned it off so that I don't get any notification on it. I genuinely feel like with that and with social media and everything, I just feel like everything's just coming at me. And I just feel like sometimes I'm just standing around just being like, I just want a bit of peace and quiet. And then as soon as I get peace and quiet, I hate it.
Do you know that you're a big reason for me being here?
It was really nice when you said that. But again, like with my mum, when she used to say nice things about me when we were little, I'm like, I don't agree with that, but it's better than somebody saying nasty stuff. So I've got a capacity as well. When somebody says something nice, I like parry it off. So like I cut my hair and I went into the gym day after. Everyone's like, "Oh man, sick haircut," and I was just like, "Oh thanks." And I start just explaining away like why it's a sick haircut. You've literally just had your hair trimmed, and people are just being nice. Just say thank you. So I've tried to adopt that, and I've got better at that in certain things. Like when people comment your physique when you're looking good, and I'll just be, "Oh thanks, I'm trying hard." And then people will be like, "Oh, I can tell." I'm like, "Oh, thank you, I'm trying hard." Rather than being like, "Oh, well, what it is if you trained for 20 years, you'd look all right as well." It's just like, stop doing that.
It's a common deflection though, isn't it? Like people will say, that's a nice t-shirt, or I like your glasses. Yeah, they were on sale.
Yeah.
Why do they have to be on sale?
Yeah.
Why can't we just say thank you?
Buy them full whack. Yeah.
Actually, they were really expensive.
They were fucking spenny, and I just thought, fuck it, I can put them on 3 Klarna payments, and it's fine. It's just mad that it's so hard to take a compliment, and also as well, which is really odd, how difficult is it to actually give somebody a compliment? A really good one that we saw the other day, we were walking around, there was a man and woman, and they looked top to toe, they were put together. They were like, maybe in the 60s, 70s, but they just looked fantastic. And she was in like a maroon red pantsuit. Hair looked sensational, and he just looked slick. They walked past me, and I really disliked the fact that I didn't stop and just say, "You two look incredible." So I really dislike when an opportunity to compliment somebody passes me by. That gets on my nerves, because I just think to myself, how many other people have just let them walk past without being like, "You two look, you've clearly put some effort in, and you look fantastic." I think sometimes we can maybe assume that people get over complimented. It's common, isn't it, for dudes, like you see all these stupid things where it's like, oh, men get one compliment and they latch onto it for 5 years. And I said this to Jem, like about like, I can count on one hand the amount of times I've been complimented in a manner where I've gone like, I've sort of blushing. And it's not just been, "Oh, sick t-shirt bro," or "sick trainers." You know, trainers exist, t-shirts are for sale. And it's like a genuine compliment that really sort of gets you, and you're like, "God, this person pays attention." That's always nice.
I want to pick you up on that though. So you've just said that you have seen this couple head to toe look amazing, but t-shirts can be bought. Those clothes can be bought, and you would dismiss that compliment.
Yeah, myself, 100%.
But that's it. So if you would dismiss the compliment, then maybe it doesn't matter that you didn't give it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And
assuming that they would be dismissive of it.
Potentially. Yeah.
I just think other people aren't. I just feel like because when you give somebody a compliment, like seeing the demeanour change, or like, you know, seeing a smile or something like that I think is really nice. So I kind of get concerned. So this is where not the same, but like with my daughter at the minute, she's becoming overly concerned with trying to just be like a people pleaser. And you can see it in a 10-year-old because they've got so much energy, they just put too much energy into it. And she'll send me messages like, I'll be at work, love you dad, and I've not had a chance to read it. Then it'll be 7 other messages of her explaining why she sent that message and trying to authenticate it, and also apologise for getting on your nerves to send you all these messages. And I just like, darling, I'm literally at work and I've not had time to see this message since. And I feel like that's kind of what I'm like when it comes to giving compliments to people. I don't feel the way that it makes me feel, which is why if it's a genuine compliment, because I don't go around just telling everybody sick, because that's not it. But I think acknowledging hard work as well, like we had that chat the other day in gym, and you've got to yourself to a stage where, like you were saying at cafe earlier, like going to be making some money, fucking sick, because we have to work for that. But does me complimenting you on that, or even acknowledging it, make it any less graft on your behalf? No, it's not to work to get there.
But I appreciate you saying it, and I think, as you're saying, you feel bad for not doing an inherently positive thing. Like if you're giving somebody a compliment because, you know, they've made you feel a way, like that couple inspired you or made you go wow, you know, and you almost wanted to reciprocate that energy. That's amazing. And I think the fact that when people maybe are inspired by you and you've brushed it off, or you've struggled to take it, or you've explained it away, that's really interesting. And then for your daughter to, as you say, authenticate, to validate the I love you, it's interesting that sometimes we struggle to give and to receive. And I wonder where that comes from. I've noticed among particularly my girl mates, I got it on sale, it was cheap, it was discounted, or it's second hand, or it's never just a thank you. And having seen that and laughed at it, I'll do better to say thank you. But when it's been something that's made me blush or whatever, I've really struggled to take that. And I asked my cousin when I was 14, he and his then partner were driving in this Nissan 200 SX. He was so proud of his car, he was the coolest guy in the world, she was the coolest girl in the world. Like, I was completely in awe. And I was just like, how do you take a compliment, guys? I don't know how to do it.
Feeling awkward and you don't have to take it. I think for me, it's watching somebody's demeanour change when you say something that's genuine. Like, let's say you're working with a client and you're like, oh, that set was fantastic because of X, Y, and Z, and your feedback you're giving them, then you can see them like picking themselves up. And I think it's just part of why we do what we do in it. Like, you just want to see people doing well. But when I see people doing well, I'm just like, I know that ain't a fluke. So this couple, like, you know, like they're in the 60s, maybe 70s, they look put together. It's not an accident. And what my brain does is they could have met like a year ago and it could have just been a late life, boom, everything's great. Or they could have been together for 40 years. And I like to sort of think that, like, either way, they've worked on it to a stage where they can, you know, put on some people clothes, go out, look great together. Fucking good for you, because I think it's really uncommon to actually see people that make an effort in that respect, and it's not for attention and, oh, look at me. These people just look like they were happy together, and that's just nice to see. You asked me on your list of questions, one of the things that first jumped into my head is my opinion on money can't buy you happiness. It can't.
No.
Have you ever been fucking skint though? That's horrendous. I'd rather don't want to be skint ever again, so being legitimately broke can motivate you to just not being broke. And wherever that takes you, if it's millions and millions of pounds, fantastic. If it's just far enough away from there to be able to, like, that's where I've got to a point where I can just tap and send them my card, and my daughter wants a fucking hoverboard, yeah, sick. Gemma wants to go on Aldi, yeah, great. We want this, we want that. And I don't have to look at my account, and I don't. And if you'd have spoke to me like 2021 coming out of pandemic, I were like £27,000 in debt. I'm murked. And that loan, that deficit I was in, I owe £800 back on it now. I've managed to pay like all of that back, and it was tough. And I've got to a point where I got to a stage where I'd paid enough back where I could potentially decrease the payments I was paying on it, because I like looking at my account and it's only got like 800 or like 750, and I like knowing that I could just pay that off if I want to. But part of me, I kind of keep it there as like a little souvenir of what that reminds me of where I once was. I don't know if that's sensible. I feel like it's probably best to just pay off.
It's probably best to pay it off for your credit score.
Yeah, my credit score's probably murked, but I genuinely, like, when it comes to anything monetary, I just don't care. I've never cared, and I know that's a really bad. I have learned the hard way at times. That's a really silly, because money makes the world go round. That's what they say, and it does to some degree. I used to just think it didn't make my world go round, but I'm like, well, look at what it's like when you don't have it. It's really not pleasant. My worst experience ever was during that phase of pandemic when I was anticipating getting some money through that ended up not happening. I've not got it. I'm in a bit of a fucking pickle here, and I only did it twice because I just couldn't live with myself, but I was having to go to a food bank near where I lived, near Sharrow. There's that church in Sharrow back in Sheffield. The church there was doing a food drive. You could go and get like a couple of bags of food that people had donated. I went in the first time. I went in as early as possible so that I didn't get seen by anybody. When I left, I was like, oh, it's actually not too bad, because it was literally just in, pick it up and leave, because we were still like social distancing and stuff. And then I went the second time, and then there was a mum in there with 2 kids, and I was like, I don't need it this bad. Like, I didn't have any. I was fucked. I was having to like live off basically fucking tins of nothing, or it got to one point where I was like, I'd have a bag of oats and protein powder, and that's what I'd had for every meal, because I couldn't afford to eat whatsoever. But that level of difficulty spurred me on and motivated me and driven me forward to get in best shape of my life.
I think that's important to latch onto, is that when you talk about just being able to tap, like there's something that somebody wants that you could provide for, you're in a position where you don't have to worry about it. Peds, when I was out in Mexico, said the same thing, that he wants a level of wealth where, say, if there was a massive traffic jam and you were driving home from an event, you could just pull into the nearest hotel.
Yeah, and just like, I can't be bothered.
Yeah, tonight we're here and we're going to chill out and we'll go back tomorrow.
Yeah, sick.
And that ability to not worry is financial fitness. That's wealth, but it doesn't mean having all of the money in the world. You might not need 6 figures in your bank account to do that, but if you've got an amount saved up and you don't have low level anxiety about money, your life will be better.
No, 100%.
Yeah, and we're not the financial advisors to say how to do that, other than,
it's different for everybody.
It's different for everyone. To be at that moment where you recognise that, this potentially is the bottom for you.
Yeah, it was not a nice place to be, and I think I just got to a point where, and I think the pandemic for me, now that we're not in it, a lot of necessary changes had to happen, and it forced it on me. Like, there were days when before I first had to move into that share house, which was a bit of a pill to swallow, because again, I think when you're growing up, you have these misconceptions of what like a real man is, what an adult is, and what success is. And I think for me, life has just gone wrong, and just poked me in every opportunity. So you've got to kind of relearn what being a man is, and what being successful is, and what being happy is. And for me, I think a lot of it is having enough, but not too much, because I know what happens with too much. I overindulge, and don't like that word balance, but it's equilibrium. I prefer, equilibrium. It's constantly evolving. It's a constantly changing thing, and it's a constantly changing state. I think balance is used, and people think that balance is easy. Like, have you tried balancing? It's a skill. It's not plonk plonk. That's balanced. It's like no. It's an ever. Don't slip, don't trip, and it's a skill that you have to develop. And as you get better at it, well, then if you see a trapeze artist and he's got, something in this hand and something in that hand, and then you see these cartoons where he's got a fucking elephant here and a piano there. That level of balance is skill, and if you can develop it into being, with most things, like a habit. Oh, it's just Monday to me. It's actually not. You're lying, because what it is you've gotten to a stage where you can make it seem effortless. But there's so many things going off all together, and you've just stacked them up and up and up. So like, you get that phrase, habit stacking, and that's what you're doing to remain balanced, right? And some habits are going to pull you this way, and they're going to pull me that way, and you've got to figure it out. And that takes fucking skill. It takes a lot of skill, and in order for it to become a habit, you've got to have tried. It's got to have not been there to begin with.
Okay.
And in order for it to become habitual, you have to do it over and over and over.
Sure.
And then as you do that frequently enough, it's not a habit, it's now a skill, because you're so skilled at that. Do it with your eyes shut. Like brushing your teeth. It's a habit, but I'd argue that we're all pretty skilled at it, that we can do it with your eyes shut. Can you do it with your left hand though? No, because you've not practiced. But you could get so ambidextrous that you could do any of these habits, any of these skills with your eyes shut, with both hands, and become much more adept. Well, it takes time. And we don't have infinite time to get so skilled at every single habit we're trying to do. So for me and you, like you've put on one of your posts recently about how you've not really been tracking your food intake, but you're in fantastic shape. That's a lie. You are skilled enough to have developed habits that I don't need to do that anymore because I can just do it with my eyes shut. Yeah, you don't throw all the information that you learned away. It's locked in. So
Sure.
I think this is it when people are adverse to doing things, because to them, I just need to start looking at your food and then maybe tracking it and getting your steps in and doing this and doing that, or whilst they're going to work and dealing with your kids and any weird sort of personal problems you've got going on and any addictions you might have and any other obstacles that you've not told me about yet that'll crop up later on down the line. So when we're saying just move more, or like move more and eat a little bit less, that's what it all boils down to fundamentally. But they've got to learn all these fucking skills along the way, and I think the reason that people maybe give us a compliment so is because we have a capacity to make it look easy. It's fucking not. It's really not. When people ask me, I want to get into competing, and I'd be like, you have to be very well prepared for what it's going to cost, and their reason behind it as well. So if they want to get into competing because they've seen Chris Bumstead or Ramon Dino now, these other guys that are doing really well, if you've seen somebody else winning and you want what they've got, I probably wouldn't.
No.
Because you can't achieve what they've got, because by the time you've got your shit together, they've probably already retired and moved on. But it's great to be inspired. Like for me growing up, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I wanted to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. My mum put on Predator. I was like, fucking hell, this guy's jacked. This guy's wham. The comic books and Spider-Man, jacked. Biker from Mars, jacked. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, jacked. I'm like, why does a turtle need to be so wham? But it is, and that kind of seeps into who you think you should be, because these are the good guys. But then they do, also like Shredder, he looks pretty fucking sick. And as I grew older, I kind of preferred what the bad guys look like in anime, TV shows, comic books. Like Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z starts out as a bad guy, as a bit of a development arc, sick fucking dude. Still jacked, and they're never regular looking dudes, none of them. And I think that will imprint on you to some degree. So for me, I went from reading comic books and cartoons and stuff to I saw real life. I'd never seen somebody that was jacked apart from my uncle. He was wham. And you watch like Jean-Claude Van Damme and stuff and everything else, and Bruce Lee, and you start realising that it can be achieved. What's it take to achieve it? Because Jean-Claude Van Damme, immense physique. Bruce Lee, absolute fucking freak of nature. Same as Arnie, and they all had different disciplines, but all equally looked fantastic. So I tried doing martial arts. Not very good at this. Mum never told me that Arnold Schwarzenegger was 6 foot plus. So I'll never be 6 foot. So I could never be him. As soon as I sort of realised that, my hopes and dreams are smashed straight away. Because I can never be Arnie, because I'm not 6 foot. I'm just like, all right, but you could still pursue those goals. And that took me a couple of years to understand that it's okay to aspire to be like somebody, but you could never be them. I was like, oh, that's fine then. So then I just did the next thing, which was 5'5", at 17 years old, as internet existed at this point. 5'5" bodybuilders, Franco Columbu, wham, also strong as fuck. And that'd been a thing that I'd never really looked at, people being strong. Oh, he's really, really strong and jacked as shit. Guess I'll do that. And then you sort of start just applying yourself to lifting weights more and less about the martial arts and other things I were doing. And it got to a point where I'd been lifting weights in my bedroom for 3 years. The floor in my bedroom could not hold the weight anymore. So my mum was like, right, you need to get rid of them weights and go to a gym. But I didn't want to go to a gym. And I couldn't, I could not have thought about worse than being in a gym with other people. Because in my head, it was going to be like pumping iron. And everyone's going to be wham. And I'm just this little skinny nerd. And I joined Virgin Active while I was at college, and I was like, what? Didn't see a single, nobody was jacked. No. Because it was like more middle-aged people, more people at a retirement age that have got expendable income that are just going mostly for the sauna and the pool. And I quite liked it, because I'm like, the gym itself was dead, so that was great. That was my first ever gym I went to. It was a pretty alright gym back in Sheff. And then I remember I'd probably been weight training about 4 years at this point, maybe a little bit more, and I'd never shown my physique off or anything like that. I was basically just still like a bit of an emo phase, I think. Hoodies all the time, beanies, joggers. So I was working I was doing like a job in a warehouse for a clothing company, so you didn't have to interact with people.
No.
And then it was a day like today, first hot day of the year. I had a vest underneath my hoodie. I was like, bloody hell, it's warm. Hoodie off on the floor, and one of my uni mates was like, what the fuck is going on here? And I was like, looking around for like, what's he on about? And he's like, and this is what really annoyed me. So this is one of the reasons why I think this kind of probably left a bit of a mark, is first time I'd ever wore a vest in public, anything like that, and something I thought was my mate starts just berating me. So he's like, what the fuck is this? And instead of being like, bro, you look fucking sick, no, horrible bastard. And he was just being horrendous to me. But because I liked him as a person, his opinion really mattered.
Yeah.
And it was just negative. So I started feeling really awkward. I didn't know what to do. And I remember just like really frantically looking for my hoodie. I put my hoodie back on, and they was trying to pull it off so he could see, like, no, let me. You're going to gym. And at this point as well, because I've been like training properly, I'd also been able to like correct my posture and stuff. So I'd gone from being like, I'm not tall anyway, but I'd definitely gone from being about 5'5" to about 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah.
So all of a sudden this guy's noticed that, oh, you've got some muscle on you and you're also taller. And he's like, what the fuck's going on here? And he was just being really horrible. I thought he was my friend. No, he's one of these people where he's horrible. He was just a bully. He was just a bully. He was really violent, not a very nice person. But because I was befriending him, what I realised is I was doing that because I was afraid I would see him treat other people. So I'd be like, I'll get you that. If we go to the shop or anything at lunchtime, I'll get you that, I'll buy you that, I'd bring him a drink in and this and that and everything else. And basically I was just pandering to him so that we're never on the receiving end of how I'd seen him treat other people. But he still treated me like that. I just didn't notice it until this particular moment. I was like, oh, and it was almost like another light switch moment for me where I realised all these things I've been doing over the last sort of year or two and knowing this person to avoid how nasty he can be, he's actually still being nasty to you, but because you were buying him bags of Skittles and sweets and paying for his lunch and stuff, you thought that removed you from his sort of gaze, and it didn't. You were just being a fucking mug. And yeah, that was a not very nice interaction. So I went back into sort of like into my little shell mode, I suppose. And then carried on just training in hoodies and joggers for a couple of years, and then it got to a point where my friend Ash, who's one of my best mates from school, I've known Ash literally since I was like 4 or 5, he pulled me into working at a bar in town, an old bar one, and he was just like, you're not well in yourself, basically. I think if you come and work for me, it'll really bring you out of your shell. And I was obviously mortified, I was petrified, and it's one of those things as well where like, it was fantastic. But I remember I first went in and I thought, I'll just be a pot washer. No. I was doing cocktails and like full bar service on my first shift, but you're so busy and so distracted that you didn't realise how anxious or nervous you were. That went straight away. Yep. And because you want to do a good job as well, and you're quite conscientious, you do a good job and you're really thorough. And he was like, oh, you'd be pretty good at doing our cocktail masterclasses and stuff. So I got put on that, something else. And before you know it, I'd been there for like my last sort of year, like my degree. I was there. Didn't know what to do with my degree, didn't really like the job options I had after that, so I stayed working there, and that was there, I think I was there for maybe 6 or 7 years, but I fucking loved it. And it got to a point where, because I was still really super keen on like fitness and everything else, I was doing that all and like just reading encyclopedias and stuff and just learning off my own back. And it got to a point where people would be like, because you used to get all Sheffield Wednesday players used to come into that particular bar, and they'd be like, oh, you're good at this, what do you recommend I should do for that? And I just give them advice based off what I've learned. I think this would work for this, and I think that would work for that.
In terms of gym work? Yeah,
in terms of like, oh, what should I do to get my performance up on this or my performance up on that, or any kind of improvements. And then you get random people, because again, like I never really realised I had a decent physique. I just knew I was working hard. I'd look at myself and go, that needs to change, and that was as far as it would go. I never thought, you look great. It never crossed my mind once. I just thought, you can improve more. You've improved a lot over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. You can improve more and more, and that was all it ever were. But then you get to a point where you're wearing quite a nice fitted white shirt and some tight black trousers, and it's a bar full of like women that are having too much to drink, and I did not. That's a part of the job I didn't like basically just being inappropriate behaviour from women. But you take it as like a bit of banter and stuff. But there were times where like some worst experience I had. This one lady that came in and she was like obsessed with me, and it turned out that it's because her husband had passed away and she just never got over him and stuff, but she was really obsessed with me, and she used to come in and she'd stay in the bar after closing. She'd refuse to leave. And all other bar staff were like pissing themselves. They thought it was hilarious, and I'd be saying to them, if this was the other way around, this would be so unacceptable. And they were all just saying like, oh, just go across and give her a kiss and this and that and everything else. And I'm just like, I think at this point I'm like 23, 24, and I was just I was useless when it comes to girls. I'm still pretty useless, but and just like being forced into a situation with this woman, really, really uncomfortable. And then I had moments where if it was a really big Christmas party or a birthday party, I had this one time, this lady, it was like a £300 bill, all in cash. And I've gone across and like, thanks for today guys, blah, blah, blah. I've gone to take this payment. She's rolled it up and shoved it down her bra. Her entire table, because it was like a hen party, so there's like 30 of these women, she shoved it down her bra. She's laughing her head off. And I could see the funny side, but I'm just like, I'm kind of concerned that if she decides to change her mind midway through, this is basically, I think this is like some kind of, it's not illegal, but like I'm gonna have to go somewhere I don't want to go with a random stranger. It's not my kind of deal. But my manager thought it was hilarious. He was like, go on, it's like, grow a pair. And I'm just like, and that was for me where I started realising I didn't know why people were doing that, but I'd be the person that would get sent across to interact with these difficult bookings when it was just rowdy women. And I was like, why is it always me? And one of the girls at work there, one of the ladies at work there, she was like, it's because you're most attractive one here. And I just like, what the that, like, hearing that made me feel physically sick. I'm like, what are you on about? Because I thought everybody else were attractive. I'm like, why can't you send Rob across? Or why can't Giles go across or somebody else? Why is it always me? Is what it is. And I think for me, like, getting in shape when it comes to any social interaction, it's always just been really uncomfortable, really awkward. I used to hate it when I used to go downtown. I started like intentionally wearing clothes that wouldn't show your physique off, because you want to wear like nice fitting clothes because they look nice. Yep. And it's nice getting a compliment, like we were saying earlier, like, oh, that shirt looks nice. Oh no, thanks, thank you. But getting unnecessary unwanted attention, because for me as well, in my head, I've always just been like 16 years old, wanting to pursue a goal, and that's all it's ever been for me. Even to this day, I think that's why I struggle with setting certain goals, but also realising that certain goals need to be set, otherwise I won't do it. So when you've mentioned about me competing and stuff, if I don't pick something that I don't want to do, I won't do it, because I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to be on stage with my arse out and having to go through all the process of what you have to do to do that thing. And if I won a trophy or not, I wouldn't be a better or worse person. It wouldn't help me in any way whatsoever. It wouldn't allow me to help other people in any way whatsoever. But what I think it is it's a case of, no, but it's so difficult to get to that standard that you need to be at. That's what I think is worthwhile. And I'm just like, I do actually like doing difficult things. I do seem to do well under pressure, even though I don't like being under pressure. Yeah. It's just when I'm under pressure, I'm just like, right, it's do or die, and that's how it has to be. And I think I much prefer being in a situation where I don't have to think, I just have to act.
Did you know that each episode of Fitness and Thinking takes about 10 hours to put together? If you've enjoyed them, then I've got a favour to ask of you. It's not your money. It is just a second to like what you like. Maybe a couple of seconds to leave a comment.
I want to tie a couple of these threads together. So, competing bodybuilder, you've given yourself a goal of getting back on stage. You have spoken about not showing off your physique. Yeah. And yet anybody who's trained with you or you've coached is going to notice it. And you're like a big inspiration for me. You're probably the first bodybuilder that I got to hang out with, for an extended period of time. And you have, whether you understand like the significance of it or not, I don't know, shaped my kind of bodybuilding path in a significant way, I would say. But what keeps coming up is that, the first time you didn't even show off, you just took your hoodie off, and then you had that experience with this first friend who wasn't a friend. I asked you recently if you wanted to go to the sauna, and you're just like, I'm not really that fussed about hanging out in board shorts. And I think to a lot of people, not least myself, who might work at something that is so intensely visual, the expectation is that we get to a point where we are comfortable with it. And yet that moment has clearly stuck with you in some way from when you were younger, and as you say, in your head, you know, you're still 16, and you're going back to.
Yeah, so I mean, what I mean by that is, I said this to Gemma the other day, like I try to now, my outlook on life now is, it's already happened and I'm choosing to tell the story differently rather than being like, oh, I'm afraid of getting older. I'm already old, I'm already dead. And what happened between that version of me and this version of me today? So it had a profound impact on me. There's been other times where I've had really positive impact. So a really good one I could tell you is, I'd finished competing in 2018. First time I competed, it was sick. I got through to finals at PCA, came third at finals in the UK, which was sick. Met some really great people, but with that one, I was sat backstage the entire time. So that year of 2018, when I was competing, I would go to shows and not tell anyone. I've probably said this to you before. I'd go and get my spray tan. I'd go to a show, come back, nobody knew. Next show, come back, nobody knew. Next show, come back, nobody knew. I've made it to finals. Bit of a big deal. People have started asking me at gym, like, you're competing? Because you're abnormally tanned on a regular basis, and you're also in noticeably good shape. And I'd just be like, yeah man, I am. As soon as cat rat bag, a couple of my friends want to come with me and stuff. I was like, look, this is where it is, it's in Birmingham, if you want to come you can, blah blah blah. I had a really great time, and what I did with that particular show is, it was the first time I'd actually been cheated, because there were people there that wanted me to win, and I was like, oh, this is fucking great. And it ended up just being such a fantastic time, actually having people cheer for you. And I was still going to do it regardless if there were people cheering for me or not. But having people there cheering me on, I was like, God, that actually makes a massive difference. Because I was backstage and I was on my phone, and I was like writing, because up until this point to get to finals, I had not won any shows that year. Best I'd done was like second and third. So I'm backstage looking at the list of competitors, and I'm trying to find them on the PCA website and be like, that guy won, or he won again, this guy. And everybody that was there, bar me, had at least won a show, bar me. So I'm just like, well, I'm last. There's no way I can win. Even though I've not come to win, I certainly don't want to be dead last. I was like, ooh. And it's like this thing with financial things, like, don't care about money, don't want to be bankrupt though. And if I'm going to have to be bankrupt or a millionaire, I'd probably rather be a millionaire. And, you know, this was it with competing. Don't want to, I never thought about being dead last. I can take not winning, but I never thought about being dead last. I was like, you're going to come last. You've not won any shows. These guys are all winners. And there was like 15, 16 guys there. We do a sting. You do your mandatories, your posing round, your mandatories, you got to do your posing routine. So I didn't realise that you do your posing routine if you're inside top 10. Get to do your posing routine. I just thought it was just part of what they do at finals. Fantastic. Some guys over there, 5 guys at middle. You're doing your rotations and stuff. And then they ask you to step back. This person steps forward, that person steps forward. And the entire time this is going off, I'm just chatting shit. Like, I'm chatting to these guys, we've got our backs turned, and I'm chatting, I was like, I can't wait to get a burger, or maybe even a donut. And these 2 guys either side of me are pissing themselves. And they're like, shut the fuck up. The guy on the microphone that's doing the announcement's like, you're in the middle, shut up. And I was chewing gum and everything. Like, I just didn't realise. I just didn't take it seriously. And I think everybody else were taking it like legitimately serious. I was just here to have a good time. This guy comes forward, and I get to go forward. I was like, so I'm still not paying attention. And he goes over at microphone again. He's like, if you don't pay attention, you'll not get your reward. And I was like, what? And I looked down, and I've got fucking my statue for 3rd place. And then straight away I was like, didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, what the fuck? These other 2 guys that come forward, like, really fucking nice guys. Everybody, in fairness, when you get to that stage, everyone's fucking dying, so everyone's just in a really shitty place, but also that makes them just all in a really good mood at the same time, which is really weird. And it was such a good experience. And then came back, dropped a message into my group chat just saying, like, look guys, I've competed this weekend, no pressure. If you want to, I'm going to have some drinks tonight. Like 60 people came out. It was ridiculous. I thought maybe 1 or 2 would show up. Yeah. 60 people, like 60 odd people came out. And then I remember, so we said about the guy when I was at uni, who was not very nice. We're in this bar in town, and there's like the Cuckoo, if you've ever been in.
Yeah, cocktail bar on the corner.
It's got booths. And in one of these booths is my guys from uni, my uni pals, all nerds, by the way, nice guys, really nice guys. I come walking in from the toilet, and Liam's walking out, and he's like, oh my God, and he grabs me, he's like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in fucking ages. And I'm just like, I was sober at this point. I was like, how's it going? We're just having a chat and that. He brings me over to the table, and it's like everybody that I used to actually like from university. It was really nice. And they're all like, I see you posting stuff on your social media all the time, but I just don't know if I should message you or not. And we've seen you for years, like really taking it seriously. And every time I see you post something, it's like a physique update or a video of this and that. You just look like you're always getting better and improving. It's just really motivating, and it's inspired me to start going to the gym. Oh, Michael's even dropped some weight, and you're just like, oh, that's all nice. And then they're like, you fucking built like Captain America, and it was nothing but like, because obviously we've all had a drink as well. It was just nothing but honest praise, and it was nice to just hear from these people that, like, I thought we were the same. Like, we're all just nerds. We're a bunch of nerds. I just happen to lift weights, and they were like, yeah, you've inspired me to do this better and to do that better and to think about this and to think about that. And I was just like, oh, because I think at this point I'd only been coaching 2018. I'd been coaching like just over 2 years, so I was still like fresh into coaching, really, really sort of enthusiastic, and that was, I think, one of the best interactions that I've had, where I do look back on it sometimes, and because I do get them on social media sometimes, where I'll get people that'll message me just out of the blue, I've followed you for years and blah blah blah, and it'll always be a massive just confession. I had somebody that had messaged me last year, basically just not bawling his eyes out, but just confessing something to me on social media, that when I was going through a really rough time back in Sheffield, he's like, I remember walking past you when you were on your hands and knees outside gym crying your eyes out. I don't remember that. I was just in a fucking state. And he's like, and I walked past you and I just kind of side-eyed you and just thought, nah. And he's like, that's eating away at me ever since, because he's like, I've been at a point where I've been so low that I'm crying in my car, or I can't face getting out of bed and stuff. And he's like, and I thought, I walked past somebody that clearly needed help. And I said to him, I was like, well, don't beat yourself up too much, because I was also in a place where I couldn't take it. If you'd have tried to help me, you'd have wasted your time.
Yeah.
It would have been nice for you to have tried. I was like, but at that particular stage, I was just beyond help, because I had to, I suppose, pull myself out of it. But once you do, you kind of figure it out. But yeah, man, it's I had obviously that negative experience when I was younger. I think I've gotten better at not focusing solely on the negative things that have happened to me, because all you've got then is negativity. And I would argue that I've actually got way more fantastic little blips and little sort of like sparks that have gone off than I have negative ones. It's just sometimes if it's quite a impactful, I suppose, ripple effect, or if it's like a fucking meteorite and it just decimates you, yeah, it's only a one-off, but the comeback from that is quite challenging. And I think I used to be very good at setting myself up to allow those situations to happen. I just ain't got time for it anymore.
It makes sense though why they do shake us, if we think kind of survival and evolutionary psychology, that we would look out for the negative things because they're death.
Yeah.
You know, or they're serious injury that would stop us from eating or procreating. You know, that's the working theory for it. Whereas a compliment, you know, doesn't have the same weight or the positive experience.
Leave me alone, yeah.
Just see you later.
Going in the opposite direction, using that when you become aware of why that might be, and then having something like a gratitude practice. I don't know if you've implemented this, but I do it before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
And I go to sleep with a smile on my face. Guaranteed I'll have a much better sleep. Like, it's a 1 minute practice for me, and I'll try and find something in the day, and it might be tough sometimes. Not every day is going to be great, but that's not to say that there aren't good moments and bad days. And if you can find those good moments in the bad day and just say, you know what, thank you for that, or thank you for that opportunity, I found that that's transformed my experience.
Especially at the end of the day as well, because the good, let's say you've had a real fucking stinker, right? The great part is tomorrow's a new day. Oh, yeah, fuck it, like,
Yeah.
that's it. Like, if your day's really been that bad that there's nothing positive to take from it, well, it's over now, and tomorrow will be an opportunity for you to, you know, maybe start anew. But I mean, unless it's, there's always something to be proud of and to be grateful for. And even if it's a bad day, I would be like, but you got up and did it anyway. Or maybe like, let's say like when I've had days where I've been really, really low and I've not got out of bed all day. You know what? I'm thankful that I've not gone and done something more catastrophic. If me at my worst is just laid in bed and just having a bit of a, I'm not going to say a sulk, but just having a really low day and I just can't motivate myself to even put my fucking socks on. If that's me at my worst, that's like light years ahead of who I used to be, where I'd go out of my way to destroy myself. So I'm just like, you know what, you've learnt your lesson. And it's frustrating, because sometimes you do just want to be like, fuck it, I just want to burn everything down. But I'm just like, but you will be the one that has to sweep it all up and put it back together. And you know how that feels, and you also know what that does to everybody else, which is ultimately, I think when we're doing anything self-destructive, it's self-destructive. We've not considered the impact it has on other people. And once I've kind of been very, I suppose, rudely awakened to the impact that my decisions have on other people, man, I just want to suffer on my own. I don't want everybody else to suffer as well. Well, when you're a decent person, unfortunately, people suffer with you. You've got to hold it together for them sometimes, but ultimately for yourself. But you know, you've got such a profound impact on other people. And there's a quote where, don't underestimate the significance that your absence would leave. So if you're no longer here, that space that's left by you is pretty fucking noticeable.
It's a vacuum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a black hole. It just pulls everything in.
Yeah.
Everywhere you aren't, that's filled in by it. Jack's not here anymore. Yeah, it's fucking shit. Everywhere I look, you're not here. And it's, I think it's really important, especially for anyone that is really sort of having a bit of a low point. And it's tough to, it's again, you have to sort of work through it, because somebody that feels really low on themselves, telling them that they're actually important and that they matter and the presence is necessary, they'll just see it as more of a burden and more pressure and even more of a challenge to bring. God, I've got all these other things, other expectations, and it's like, that's life though. You do have to do it eventually, and you can't go back. Like, we literally can't go back. So if we're here today and all this shit's behind me, but it's at least it's behind me. But if I don't want to move forward, it's I'm against it. It's like leaning on a wall, and it's just peel yourself off, man, and start taking them steps forward. It's really fucking hard if you've gotten really good at, and if you've been there so long, you've got like moss and stuff growing around you, and you've kind of fused a little bit to it. Like, you're gonna have to peel yourself off, because you can't live like that. And some people live like that for too long, that it is, what is it, that is sunken lost fallacy or something,
where you've invested so much time in it that it's not something you can give up on just yet. Yeah,
because it's like, if you've put, like, any relationship can be a personal, but could you be a relationship with yourself, with somebody else, a family member, a romantic partnership. If you've invested 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, pick a time frame, that investment, the fear of leaving that behind for because what you get is nothing. But you don't have to be in that situation anymore. And I think that's what's, you know, as soon as you free up space for something else to come in, life has a really fucking annoying and fantastic way of dumping it on you. And I said this to my clients, like, you know, you're getting physically stronger and you're progressively overloading, and I'll be like, so you can progressively overload your life. And like, what does that mean? Well, it's so that you can take on more challenges. And they don't get it. But if you're learning on a day-to-day basis that I can't, I did, and I can, and I do, and I will, and I'll continue to do that, that becomes who you are as a person. And you're somebody now that, I don't know, I know it's tough, but if I do it, I will get through it, and then I'll get whatever's on the other side of that. And when it comes to life, you can't guarantee what that is. Whereas in the gym, it's like, right, you're currently doing 100 on a lift. If it can work to get you to do 105, great. And then you're somebody that doesn't need to do this anymore, because you can do that, and you just take it forward, and you're bigger and stronger, more robust, probably more humbled, because it's not been an easy process, but it's a necessary process. And if you just apply that to your life, like I said with one of my guys recently, he came to me not in a good place, 6 months later, smashing it, but he'll come in, like, we'll do like a set on bench press or something, he'll get a new PB, it literally jumps up, he's like, I'm fucking loving it, man. This guy's like fucking 50, like, and he's 49. He's jumping up and he's loving it, and he's like, oh, this is amazing. And I'd just be like, yeah, man, good for you. Like, I know how that felt. I was 17 when I felt like that. I know how that feels. And I'd be like, this is mad, because this guy's older than me, acting like I acted when I was a kid. And I'd get my new bench press PB in my bedroom, or I'd be doing my lateral raises or whatever movement it were, and I'd get a new PB or whatever it were, and you just felt good. And I'm like, God, I felt like that 20 years ago. This guy's feeling like it today for the first time. But unfortunately, you know, he's not 17, he is an adult, he's got responsibilities, he's got businesses to run, he's got a wife, he's got kids, he's got legitimate problems to fix. Well, it gives him a capacity to be a stronger person so he can fix those problems. And I said this to him, he's like, why is this happening to me now? I was like, because it's the best time for it to happen. If the things that he's going through currently had happened 6 months ago, it would have pushed him down a darker path. Unfortunately, he's built himself up, literally built himself up to be able to take more on, and life goes, here then, fucking have it. And if you would, I suppose, avoid it for too long, there's a backlog of things that need to come at you. And life's just like I was saying, that stupid sort of balancing analogy earlier, like, if you don't deal with it eventually and learn how to juggle it so you can get it across, it's going to come and it's going to flip you off, and then God knows where you're going to land. And you can't avoid what's meant to happen. I don't think you can. And if we can get better at understanding that, and then not beating yourself up for not getting it perfect or getting it right the first time because you didn't know any different. And this is where I've kind of changed my perception of myself as a person. Like, there were things once upon a time that I was really resentful towards, and like I said, I've never experienced jealousy. I've never been jealous of anyone in my life, but I've had resentment of things that I've done to people, or I've allowed people to do to me. Well, of course you would now, because now I can see that it was wrong and I did things I shouldn't have done, and I should have changed my approach. But at that moment in time, it's like, we've got our sunglasses on now, but imagine if sunglasses don't exist. I mean, you were like squinting at each other or doing this, and then one day I come to see you and you've got to check these babies out. I'm like, where the fuck are they come from? I just made them. And you've developed you've created a tool that you need to help you prevent this. And I think that's when it comes to developing them skills inside yourself. It's like every area in your life that you've fallen short, fucked up in, wish it could have been this, wish it could have been that. It's good in hindsight, but at that moment in time, you're doing the best you can with the skills you've got, which oddly enough aren't the skills you need.
No.
Like, it'd be like you're making a recipe and you're like, it needs salt. Yeah, ain't got any salt. Make it anyway. But it's going to be shit. Yeah, make it anyway. And then next time, make sure you got some fucking salt. And that's how it goes. And it's just really fucking annoying, because it's so easy to look back and like, if only I had salt when I needed it, or if only I'd not made that decision when I made it, or if I'd have not said that thing that I didn't mean to say, or do that thing I didn't mean to do. It's like, but you did. And if that exact scenario happened again and you did it again, you've learned nothing. And I think life does have a way of repeating itself. So when I was on one of my worst sort of periods of time, little pals there.
You got one on your neck too.
I can feel it. No, he's fine. He can just chill. One of my mates used to say to me, so when I was going through a really rough fucking period of time, he started getting to a point where he wouldn't converse with me at all, and he would just send me a gif of a merry-go-round. And he'd be like, get off, bro, time to get off. Yeah. Well, I can't, because of merry-go-round. That's all he would send me. He would not even entertain it. And you get to a point where you do get to a stage where you're like, I need to just take action. And sometimes that can be, removing yourself, stopping, because sometimes action doesn't need to always be going out and doing something. It can be stopping something. Stop it. You're doing too much. You need to take a step back. How far? As far as necessary. And if you've took such a step back that you can't ever get there again, I think that's a good thing. Removing yourself from an environment that's not helping you. I suppose it's one of the reasons why I came to Nottingham as well. Like, I knew that for whatever reason, I felt like it was like I'm playing Skyrim and I've just maxed out Whiterun, and I'm like, these fucking elves are too easy. I'm not getting any experience here. Well, go over there and go and challenge yourself in a different aspect. I kind of like it here though. You were just complaining about it. You don't like it enough. Or I'll tell you what, stay where you are and be miserable and don't make the changes that need to be made. And for me, it's like same with competing or anything. I have to pick something that I know I don't want to do, because I know that ultimately I'll be so happy that I did. 3 things that you've sparked me on, which are properly exciting, like for me, and I wonder if you can like relate to these. So the one about ingredients. Yeah. That 6 months ago, if only I'd had this. Yeah. I had the thought recently that 6 months ago, the gym that I'm in didn't exist. Yeah. So the job and the success. You couldn't do it. I couldn't have done it if I wanted to. But now it's here and I am doing it and it's great, So sometimes you won't have what you need and that's not your fault. There. Yeah, that's where the world is. Yeah. For yourself, like, I just love when things sort of, and that's where you know you're doing the right thing. You've travelled, you've done different things around the world, and when you're like, I think I want to, and it just falls into place, and that's how, when you're in a situation you know you're starting to make the right decisions, life has a way of, you've freed up space, and it gets taken up by the things that are supposed to occupy you. And it's that sunken loss fallacy. It's really fucking annoying because you're like, but I've invested all this, and it's like, it's because you're somebody that can invest, but you also need to remember that and choose where to go and invest it now, because currently it's not being appreciated. It's lost its value.
Do subscribe if you haven't already. Lots of people will watch an episode or two but not hit that subscribe button, meaning that they miss the future episodes, meaning that maybe to those algorithms it doesn't look like they're that interested overall in the project. But I get the sense that more and more of you are. We're into triple digits in terms of followers and people tuning in both for the podcast and the newsletter. And even this cat is checking us out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and like I said earlier about like having 5 minutes to myself, I'll book a week off, and then in my head I'm like, oh, I'm going to do nothing on Monday, and if I actually did nothing on the Monday, I'd be so depressed I won't do anything all week. And you actually set yourself back, and that wasn't the reason for taking this time off. It so you can take a breath, get on top of some things, and enjoy a bit of time, you know, away from your usual routine, but not so far away that you can't get back onto it.
I think that's a point that people could latch onto from this conversation, and just generally, is that you might not need a week off. You might not need 2 weeks off to go to Lanzarote. You might just need to breathe for 5 minutes in a day. You know, as you say, it's noise all the time. So what if actually all of that stress which you've got building up and all of these responsibilities which are absolutely legitimate, what if for just 5 minutes you didn't look at them? You know, that's not an abnegation of responsibility for 5 minutes. You just sit outside, touch grass if you can, and it's hopefully going to get easier to do that in the UK, and just go, right, there's nothing but right now. And if there's nothing but right now, there's no stress, there's no pulling, there's no anything. I can guarantee that if you build that into your routine, it will be easier to manage it when it's there. But you've got to trust that the 5 minutes are going to do that. If you don't actually attempt it and you dismiss it as woo, and you go and have that 2 week holiday and find that when you come back it's all the same, then you've learned nothing, as you've already said.
Well, I agree with pretty much all of that as well. It's so like if I take too far of a step back, I struggle to then get back into my routine. And I think when I was like getting in best shape I've ever been in 2020, 2021ish, came out of that pandemic super overweight, managed to get all that weight, and it was just a flow state. And I got to a stage where I was like, I could do this forever. And the reason it stopped is because I picked up an injury in my shoulder. I was like, you know what, I had a chat with my mum, and she was like, I think you need to maybe go and sort of move yourself on and go and try something else somewhere else. So initially I was looking at going to a different country, like, because obviously we were travelling and stuff. And I was like, fuck it looks fun, it looks sick. And I think I've always been scared of travelling because I, in my heart and soul, know if I went I won't come back. I can see it on the internet, and what? But then I thought to myself, but I bet it's the culture and it's the people and it's all the things that we don't have here that you can only get there. Well, if I went, why the fuck would you? Why would you come back? And I've joked about this before, like, you know, when I eventually go to Japan, right, when I eventually go,
it's my eventual as well,
broski. When I eventually go to Japan, I'm not coming back. Like I said this to Gemma, like she's like talking about us going. I was like, honestly, what would happen is it'd be like a scene out of a film where that person's sliding back and people like, and then I'm just gone, and I'm not coming back, and I'd just do anything. I'd work in a cafe, a clothes shop. I'd do anything just to experience what life might be like somewhere else. But I fucking can't do that. I mean, if I didn't give a shit about people, I could. But I've got a daughter now that really relies on me, and my mum's not very well, so she's going to need me over the next few years, and obviously my business and obviously my relationships and everything else here. But there was a part of me at that moment in time before any of this happened, because I've been very fortunate to be able to rebuild, or not even rebuild, to start building my relationship with my daughter over the last sort of 3 or 4 years.
Seeing how you were in Nottingham, particularly when you moved to West Bridgeford, a big part of you being here is obviously Gemma. And I think she's almost like your Jiminy Cricket, the yin to your yang. Yeah.
We're extremely different. But yeah, it's like positive, negatives, yin and yang. Like Gemma's a very fuck it, do it, see what happens kind of person. Always lands on her feet. So she just reminds me, like, we've got a cat, always reminds me of that. Like, she's got this capacity to land on her feet. I don't know if she knows that. And this is it, you'd watch somebody like her who's really adventurous and she's done all these things, she's got all these skills and everything else. And when you learn more about who she is as a person, There's just layers to it. Like, she's been a police officer, she's been a detective, she's a dive master, she's travelled like 30 odd countries around the world, and she's seen everything and done everything. And I was like, why the fuck would you want to live in Nottingham? Because she's not from here, she's from down south. She's got reasons. And you know, for me, I always used to sort of feel like I was like a little plant in a pot, in a cupboard, in a box under the stairs, and I just put myself away because I was always scared of the fact that I've seen what happens to plants if they overgrow. They take up a lot of space. They become too big, and I just like, I'm struggling to maintain my one leaf and my little petals here. So if I grow into a fucking tree, I've got bigger responsibilities because now I've created an entire ecosystem and there's a habitat because of me and stuff. So I just stay in my box, and that's something we had a really difficult conversation about. And she was saying, like, bringing me out of my shell, and she's like, I just think you're capable of more than you are. And I was like, nobody's ever, and this is why I really hate when people have complimented me before, if they have, and I've been in a place. So like I said, when that guy saw me and I was crying outside gym back in Sheffield, I think if somebody had tried to help me back then, I couldn't take it on board. I didn't have capacity. So I am really sorry to people that have played a part in my life where I couldn't even let you help me if I tried. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
Whereas Jem showed up at the exact right time, and she was like, for whatever reason, random as fuck, and just wanted you to I just think you can just be better than you are. But there's nothing wrong with who you are. But it's just like, yeah, like sometimes you just know things can be more. And I always sort of describe it as like energy. I suppose like energy. Like, you look at the sun and it's light years away, but we understand its power.
Mm-hmm.
It can keep us warm. It can do damage. You know, it can help things grow. And I think that's it. If somebody sees whatever that light is inside of you, and they just know you're more than what you're allowing yourself to be,
Yeah.
just want to see what that is. And whatever it is fantastic, because it's still part of who you are. And that's it. She's 100% like, we're very different. She's, I'm not used to being supported in the way she supported me in a romantic sort of setting as such. So one of the things I said to her when we first met, it was just like, and I was like, look, I'm normally very good with my vocabulary, and I like to be very selective with if I do give somebody a compliment or say something positive. And I was like, you feel really familiar. And she's like, I've never said that to anybody before in my life. And she's like, well, that's a good thing though, isn't it? I was like, it is. I was like, but it feels like, you know, when you get to be such good mates with people, it just feels okay. It's just, there's no
Pressure.
There's no pressure.
Yeah.
And I said to her, like, it feels like when I'm sat next to my brother or my dad or my mum or like somebody like yourself, you're just there, and it's like, I know I don't have to put on a show for you. And when it comes to like friendships, that's great. When it comes to romantic relationships, it's terrifying, because I'm just like, I know that this person will get to see me at my absolute worst, and I know what that's been before, and I'm hoping that when that time comes round again, I've learnt my lesson, and it's not who I am anymore, and that's it.
Yeah.
But, no, it's been great, but like you said, like yin and yang, and I suppose in reverse, because of what I've become, because of my experience, I've become much less afraid, much more brave at taking things on. So, you know, we've had to have some difficult conversations where I've had to, I suppose, well, I've not had to, I've kind of encouraged Gemma to just have a look at herself in areas that I think she can improve. And she's like, oh, I never thought about it like that. I'm like, yeah, that's what's great, because you don't.
No.
And it's necessary. If there's an area that you can improve on, especially as you get older, I think you should. You're just doing yourself a disservice if you don't.
For sure. As the sun goes behind a cloud, it feels to me almost, in a way, to use your plant metaphor, that Gemma's a bit like the sun for you and has definitely helped you grow.
Definitely.
But obviously you can burn too brightly almost, or you can be too passionate in a way, and you know, you've kind of spoken back in that way. And I think the way that you two show up for each other, just as somebody who has come to the place that you're both in and also felt comfortable, like, this feels like a good place to have roots. You know, this feels
it's really
like
nice.
A good space.
I'm super aware of how fortunate I am to be where I am. I think for me, like, it's been a massive help having Jem and being in a an environment within myself where I can take things on board that I would have never been able to before. And it's a bit annoying that I'm like nearly 40 and it's took me this amount of time to get there, because I think I felt at my most content in life when I was like 24, 25. I felt like a real grown up. But I had a phone bill and a PlayStation Plus membership and a full-time job.
Maybe that is contentment.
Yeah, that's it. You've got zero responsibilities and you've got a sustainable source of income.
Yeah.
So I think it's a case of scaling that up to a degree that you can keep your head on a swivel. And life has its way of sort of throwing, like we're saying, these recipe analogies, like you turn your head that way and somebody spilled something into it that weren't supposed to be in it, and you're like, that's not supposed to be that colour. That's not rising the way it should. Well, deal with it. And worst case scenario, you can throw it in the bin and you can always start again. I think that's best case scenario.
Is you know what the change was and it was good.
Yeah, because I was like, what if it tastes immaculate? And I'm like, no, and you can't fucking replicate it. That'd be fucking shit. But also, that'd make it even. But that's also life as well. Sometimes you can do everything and a little mistake happens or an unforeseen circumstance happens and end up being the best thing ever, and you could never replicate that because of what it took you to get to there in the first place. And it's like maybe for yourself, but same for me. I genuinely didn't want to be where I am right now. I'd given up on all this. Whatever it is that used to drive me to wanting to compete, that reason, whatever that is, that's like that. Like I said about acquiring tools as your age. That's if I've got a PlayStation controller, that square button ain't there anymore. It's just not there. And I think it's because I was running on like rage and aggression and just and loathing for myself.
For sure.
That ain't there anymore.
No.
Like there's not a day that's passed in the last 3 or 4 years where I've disliked myself once. Because I'm also a lot more kind to myself. So if I have days where I can't get out of bed, I'm just like, that's all right. Try not to let it be a week. Because you can get a bit out of control, and then it's not, because you're like, well, I just need this today. That's fine. At least you can do that, and it's not anything more detrimental than that one thing. Oh, I'm actually quite proud of myself for not allowing it to become an absolute derailing in my entire life. I mean, I didn't anticipate being where I am. I'm thankful to be here, and I suppose like with our position that we're in, we're very blessed to be able to even help, if that is what we're doing, support, care for, stand beside people while they, I suppose, go through their version of whatever it is that we've gone through. And I think as a coach as well, you're definitely there on people's worst days, but if you can be there on the best days as well, that's pretty fucking fantastic.
This point of people coming to us following loss, so 3 of the last 5 people I've signed up, loss of kind of belief in self due to chronic pain, loss of a son, loss of a wife. Big things.
Yeah, fucking gross.
In the other direction though, something that we get to observe and something that we get to help with is joy, is re-belief, is re-faith, is recentering, whatever it is, rebuilding, I think, as much as building. And you introduced me to an idea that I wasn't aware of. So it was Matsumoto in 2012, studied Paralympic athletes and congenitally blind athletes. And do you want to finish this off?
No, you go, bro. You say something.
So, blind athletes crossing the line in their events, throw their arms up in victory. And obviously this would seem like a learned behaviour until we realise that they've not watched anybody to do that.
No.
That's just a feeling.
Yeah, it's just celebration, man. And even if you shut your eyes and experience anything, like we've got this breeze coming through here and you shut your eyes and you're just like, oh, I genuinely feel like you just feel it over you so much more. So it's not a blessing or a curse. They've lived a completely different life to us as well, so things must have felt so much more visceral in the way that it has to accommodate for like a complete lack of sight. I don't know why that's where it stuck me. I've learned that a while ago, so if it's 2012 when that was been done. And that's just something I've always just thought about, like why do people do that? Like we were saying, like I think we were talking at gym, and I said, why do people they pump like it's like, come on, and it'll be a case like they've scored a goal and they do this or they punch or whatever. There's something about it, and it's like, why is that what people do?
managed to progress a little bit of my human flag. So it's
Yeah.
a project that I'm working on very, very slowly, but I got to the best hold that I've done. I managed to figure my legs out while I was upside down. It's quite funny how you forget what's left and right when you're upside down. And I had to get my...
That's just me standing up.
I had to get my left leg extended with my left hand down.
Yeah.
And managed to figure it out, and I got to a decent angle. I was so happy with it. I didn't know what it looked like. My camera was running, but I didn't know what it looked like. I just felt it. And the first thing I did was jump.
Yeah.
And there's a tee-hee and you know, like I was just so happy.
Yeah.
And seeing this all the time with people who've lost faith. I play the 2 reps in the tank game, or any number, but it's usually 2. It happened yesterday. Can you keep on going until you can only do 2? All right, cool. I reckon you got 2 more. And they'll look at you like, what? And they'll do 2 more. And then they'll probably do 2 more. And they'll probably do 2 more. And you have there, just because somebody believes in you, or somebody is there to safely guide you, this person who has capped themselves previously now push past what they thought was possible. Again and again and again.
Well, it's like I said too about gaslighting people. Like I gaslight my clients all the time. 2 more. I didn't say that was it. I just said do 2 more. Another, and then what you'll get to sometimes, and you'll get this where you can read their body language. 2 more. Now stop. Too easy. Then we just put some more weight on instead.
Yep.
And it's like, this is what I'm here for. You can't see what you're not achieving, and it's my job to make sure that you, unfortunately, don't put yourself, like I said about analogy myself, little plant in a box under the stairs. If you do that to yourself, you're never going to bloom, you're never going to grow. And when it comes to the fucking gym, it's one of the few things that if you do the work, you actually get all the results. It just sucks that you've got to do a fucking shitload of work to get any results. When it comes to building muscle, it's so difficult to put a price on, like, when you're going to change these people's lives, priceless. But we've got bills to pay, and we want like fucking coffees, and we might need a new pair of trainers and stuff. So if you have a scaled up version of what you think that is for you, then I think you can value yourself more. And I think for me, that's where I've kind of struggled, because I'm so used to having nothing and not really aspiring for much as well, that when somebody goes, how much for this, I'm like, awkward. And it just makes me feel really uncomfortable, because I do it for free. I just don't want to see you suffer. It's like you've got these people, you've got somebody that's lost somebody that should have never lost, and experienced something you won't wish on your worst enemy. Fuck man, they need help, and we're going to charge them money for having a horrendous event happen, and that's what's been a catalyst for them to move forwards. But we've got to pay bills and stuff, we've got to pay rent at his gym, rent at his homes and stuff, and we've got to make a living. And I would argue that the financial element is just the business side of things, but the actual job itself, it's not even a job, it's a vocation, it's a passion, it's a necessity. We're just as essential, I genuinely believe we're just as essential as like breathing, helping people that need help. Yeah, that's a really fantastic role to have. And I kind of just look on when I've needed help. I've only ever really asked for it when I've been in a position where I know I can't do anything else. It's only been like maybe twice in my entire life I've actually reached out and asked for help. But I had to be literally absolutely rock bottom. And it would be great if we can, when it's been an unforeseen circumstance like with your newer clients, not much you can do about that, I suppose, but when it's I've been neglecting myself, if we can kind of catch them when it's not the most horrendous amount of neglect, that'd be great. And that's where we have interactions with people in gyms. So like, we'll be seeing people and you're like, oh, keep going, you're doing really well. Because as well, like, it's not always all doom and gloom. Like, some people come into the gym and they're not in, I suppose, they've not got bad body composition, they're not reeling from anything, it's just want to get swole, sick. But I think it's certainly not been a common occurrence for me since I moved to Nottingham. Majority of my client base are people dealing with actual issues like chronic pain, chronic illnesses, underlying health sort of concerns, and I just really wish that they would understand how important it is to me that they get better and they get to where I know they can get to, even if they don't think they can. They could just see what I see. I think they just, oh yeah, I'm just being silly, or you know what, I'm sorry, let's work on this thing together. But yeah, it's like you said, you've seen me on social media where you're like, fuck's sake, when I get to that stage, it's because I have these moments where I'm like, I can't put what I need to into competing while I've got these people need me more. Because competing, it's not going to do it for me. I'm not going to make any more money from it. I don't care about money anyway. I'm not going to improve in any area of my life. It's just going to be detrimental to all these other people that I'm trying to help. But I also kind of like to lead by example as well. So I like to just show that, you know, like that balancing analogy I sort of did earlier, like you can do all this and still do this thing. And as I'm getting older, it's getting fucking harder.
Yeah.
Like my knees are basically sound like bags of gravel now. It's horrendous. My body's not the same as it used to be. It don't respond the same as it used to be. But I just see that as that's just the challenge I've got currently. And if I can do what's necessary, which I can, it'd be fantastic if I can keep all these other things afloat at the same time as achieving a personal goal for me. Because I'm not gonna lie, like there's a part of me that thinks when I said like I kind of see my life as looking back on it and telling a story. Part of that story is definitely winning some shows. It's not like I tried it and that was that. It's like, nah man, like, and I think that's it as well. I never cared about winning until I kind of got my injuries all sorted in the last sort of few years. And I was like, I think I want to win. I don't know how that feels, because in order for me to win, everybody else has to lose, and I don't like that. I don't like having to come above other people in order for me to do well. But I'm trying to see it as somebody has to win. May as well be you. And if you've all put in the same level of, and that'll be another thing as well, knowing my luck, I'll graft and I'll get to where I want to be, and it'll be 5th place. You'll not even be in top 3, because every other time I've kind of got on top 2 and it's like, oh good for you, well done, I can cheer for that person. I've never finished like outside top 3 in anything, so I don't come away with something. That'd be dog shit. Like I couldn't. You're just here waiting for your call out, and it's like, no, you're not good enough to be in the top 10. You can go home now. But sometimes like you're just not good enough on that particular day, and there's no harm in that. There's no shame in that. You can improve, but if you know you can't improve, then sack it off. And that's it for me. I'm like, I thought I couldn't get any better, but I was like, bro, you were injured for 4 years. You didn't even have the capacity to even realistically do your best.
Yeah.
And I think I sat on that for too long, and it got to a point where I was like, right, and you've literally just twiddled your thumbs now. You've got to do it now, because if not, you're not getting any younger.
I'm going to push you for a couple of things here.
Okay.
So shame is something that a lot of us feel, and sometimes we feel ashamed to be in the position that we're in. And you know, you said that you went to a food bank and you went at a time so you wouldn't be seen by anyone.
Yeah.
But actually you needed the food to
Yeah.
survive, and you've said that coaching is as essential as breathing.
Yeah.
You know, that some people do just need help with it. And actually once you're on your feet, and once physical things feel easier, then mental things will feel easier, spiritual, emotional, you know. So I think that there is something to be said for asking for help.
Yes.
And actually if you can take pride in asking for help almost, it will completely reset.
It's definitely a skill that I say to my clients, like, it's definitely a skill you need to develop.
Yeah.
Like, don't assume you literally don't. Like, I wouldn't try and like fix my car if it were broke. You take it to a fucking mechanic. But when it comes to your personal body, it's also every experience that you've had inside your own mind, inside your own body, everything that you've lived through is sat in this chair now. So of course, to you it's like, well, you don't know all my weird cringy secrets, and it's like, do you want me to? And if you told me everything, would you feel more comfortable around me or not? And who knows? But yeah, shame and stuff for me, like I feel shame when the thing happens. I'm not ashamed of anything I've ever done. I probably, and I don't know if I said this to you before, it's not fair to compare who I am today to the person that did the thing that made me feel shameful at that time. I've got an advantage over him. It's not a fair fight.
Yeah.
Me at 30 versus me today, and me at 25, and me at any other stage, you're fucking useless. I mean, I'm not exactly proficient now, but I'm just so much better at navigating those sort of waters or those situations, and not just recreating the same challenges for myself. But there's been things that I've done where I've been I've had regrets at that moment in time, and it's always been the way that I've made other people, that my actions have impacted somebody else. I don't know if that's what most people regret. fuck it, and then you know that this is what would have happened from doing that thing, which is why you've never done this before. It's like when I've been in relationships and I've cheated, like you don't have to do it once to know that you're never going to do that again, because what you don't, everyone's different. I did not understand that hurting other people, I had a weird dynamic, but I didn't understand that hurting other people would hurt me. And then watching how they respond to what I've done. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to be like, see, that's how it feels, and that's not it, because just because somebody else can doesn't mean I can. So like, I don't think there's ever a good reason to do anything like that, but my reason was, well, you've done it to me, so I'll do it to you.
No.
But these people held me in such high regards that I also then come to learn that when people do things like that, it's nothing to do with you, it's entirely to do with them. It's how they feel about themselves. And this Mr. Perfect they thought I was could never do these things to me. And I'm just like, it's that line in Kill Bill where he says like, oh, you never thought I would or could do it to me, but you did. And he's like, yeah, because you're just not as special. And that's how it is. And what I realised is I was kind of doing an eye for an eye kind of thing. It weren't anything else more than that. And I realised, God, you've stooped to a level that you can't go back from. Like I've got like, I don't know if you're the same, you said like your pillars of health. Well, you have those for yourself, within yourself, and this is who I am, and this is what I'm about, and this is what I stand for, and bang, you've just took one of them out, and it's never coming back, you're off tilt. And in that process, it brought everything down for me. And I'd always been like what I'd sort of consider like a pretty morally, like my mum used to get my t-shirt, a morally bankrupt t-shirt. I thought I was a pretty morally north-facing person, until you do something that spins your compass around and you just can't find your bearings. And yeah, man. And I think that's it. That varies from, everybody's got their own version of what that is. But making that, because it definitely was a choice, man. I intended to do what I wanted. I just didn't foresee the outcome being as devastating as it was. That put me in a position to really learn the hard way about like kind of corrupting yourself. So when we come to help people at work that have let themselves down, made a bad decision, not appreciated somebody when they had, and everything else. Yeah, I've been there in my own weird way. And what derails me might not derail you the same. What I can live through, you might not be able to live through, and vice versa.
It's a huge point. I want to push you for one more thing.
Yes.
When you came third, it was fun, you were taking the mick, you didn't realise how serious it was. What you've just said about what if you tried really hard and you came fifth?
Yeah.
Is that scary to you, do you think? Is that something that prevents you from doing it?
No, it would be the winning side of actually winning would be
scary.
Would be worse, yeah, way worse.
Because I wonder, it feels to me, and you call me out if this isn't right, it's almost like your relationship with Gemma.
Yeah.
And when people have given you praise and it's been earned, like it's been a proper compliment, and winning because you've earned it, like these things seem like scary things to you. Yeah. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. The thing for me with winning would be, so again, with my reason for like not wanting to travel, I don't know, once I'm on the other side of that victory, or once I'm in that environment when I'm in a new country, wow, this is amazing, I'm not going back. And I know what it feels like to try and lose, and try and fail, and try and not really, I'm only putting in 90%. So it's enough for everyone else to believe, but deep down in my heart and soul, I know I'm not putting in that extra 10%. Nobody else does, but I do. So getting to a stage where I gave that last 10%, what that might look like, I don't think it would matter as such if it was last, fifth or first, because I know I'd given that final piece that I've saved for myself. I just don't know. I mean, probably, who knows? I don't know if that would then open up an avenue for more passion, more desire. So I don't know if you get like this, when you're in a deficit phase or a gaining phase, and you're coming towards the end of your gaining phase, you feel sluggish, you feel like you're going to throw oats all day every day, you just constantly can't even put your socks on, everything sucks, everything hurts, blah, 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 but I'm strong. And also, it's going to be interesting to see what's underneath all this. That's when you start getting excited. And it's the same on a deficit phase. You finish your diet phase, you're looking your best as possible, blah, 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 but you're at your wit's end, you're running on fumes. What what a surplus would do to me right now. God knows where I could improve, but you know where you can improve because you're so lean. You can see this needs to improve, that needs to improve, and you almost get to the thrill of going after those improvements. Fantastic. If you then apply that to like your mindset in life and stuff, that's where I'm scared. So like if I was to really give that final push, so I was scared of moving away because I knew I'd succeed, but I just didn't know what that success would mean. Because what if it meant I moved to Japan or Korea or America or Canada, and I was enjoying it so much I never came back? Because I think that's what it would take. It would take me being so fantastic at something that I'd never go back. Because why would I? Because it clearly didn't work for me, which is why I left. And this is it with competing. Like if I push and gave my absolute everything, whatever I get from that, it will give me an answer. You're fifth. But these guys, so what I would anticipate is the people that I would most likely lose against would either be younger, and if they're younger than me, I ain't got years that I can invest anymore. If it's someone that's in the mid-20s, I'm 40 next year. I ain't got 15 years left of training in me to make improvements. Don't mean I can't look all right for a 40-year-old, but it's not the same, and that's ultimately where it comes down to. But then if it's somebody that is older, well, when it comes to competitive bodybuilding, ultimately it'll get to a stage where it's like, are you willing to invest in the types of pharmaceuticals and PEDs they're using? No, I'm not. Like I'm just not. Like I can't be bothered to have a protein shake. I'm lazy when it comes to not the physical aspects of training. Everything else I'm super fucking lazy, and I don't really care when it comes to like the PED side of things. It don't really bother me too much. Let's say we skip forward 8 weeks and I'm where I want to be physically, and I'm like, nah, Bran, you're looking immaculate. If I then don't win at that stage or don't do as well as I think I should do, then it would be a discussion I would have to have. But then I'm like, well, I'm nearly 40. It's a bit of a daft time to start really just ramping up loads of fucking performance enhancing drugs. And realistically, what benefit is it going to add to my life? Again, so it's what questions would be presented to me when I'm on the other side of that theoretical finish line.
Yeah.
When I competed before, I've just enjoyed it. And I know I was only coasting at about 80 to 85% and not really taking it serious and doing pretty well. I'll take it a little bit more serious. So I did in 2022 when I competed. I did, and I came second at them finals there. But I was doing that because my dad ran in a really difficult place, and I just needed something to do with my time. So I was just murdering myself in gym.
Yeah.
I looked pretty alright. I looked alright. But there's always an element as well, depending on what federation you do as well. There is an element of you've got to know the right people, because I just kind of keep a lid on everything and mind my own business and don't really promote myself or anything. You're not the type of person that they want promoting their branding or anything. So, if you come up against somebody who's got a big social media following and it's a pretty close call, you aren't winning. And then that's then going to throw in another element of, and are you also willing to do what it takes to then progress, even if you did come first? Because it'd be like, oh, you need more size, you need more this and that, and it's like, I know I can't try any harder. So for me, the only way I feel like I would need to be able to make the improvements I would need to make, if that was be the feedback or the criteria, would be you've got to take more performance in drugs. Just no thanks, pal. And that's where I've said to people before, like, I don't call myself a bodybuilder. I don't think I'm willing to do whatever it takes. But you say that, and let's say I go to compete this year and I get in fantastic shape, and if my mindset's different when I'm there, I might have a fuck it, all or nothing approach. Like I said, if I move to a different country, once a minute, I ain't coming back. So I've always been a little bit scared that if I fully invest everything into that, I don't want it to have a detriment to anybody else, because it's not fair. Like I can't drag my clients into that lifestyle, and Gemma and my daughter and my mum and anyone that cares about me. And I don't know if that's just coming from the fact that I've had I suppose some times in my life where I thought everything was fine, and then you realise it's not, and you're just not able to see it. I'm hoping I've kind of been able to take my blinkers off and be able to see things a little bit more clearly. But sometimes, as I've learned, you don't know until you're there. So I think it's necessary. I am going to see what I can do with my physique this year, because I'm in a position to do so as well. I've got no injuries at the minute. Training's pretty fucking solid. Everything's great. Like you said, it's inspired you to move to Nottingham because it's that great. It literally is. It's fucking lovely. This would be the most prime time to do it. Because I also try to see it as, if I've been able to do pretty well under very poor circumstances, when I was not in a good place in myself and everything else, you know, being in the most, I suppose, pristine sort of position to in theory, do your best. You'd be really silly to not fucking give it a go and try and hit some home runs. And I think that's it as well. Once I'm in that zone, and because I don't know if you're like this when it comes to you with your diet phases or anything, I'll wake up one day, I'm like, yeah, it's already done. I just know. Like you said, like you've been able to really lock in without even really sort of tracking anything. That's where I get to. I'll just be like, I'll check my scale weight and it'll be like 96 on a Monday, and following Monday it'll be like 94, and I'll be like, I'm not even tracking yet. I'm just in a good sort of state of control, and you just try to, I suppose, you obviously can't get to the condition you need to by just winging it, but it's also relatively straightforward. It's just a lot of it is, you've got your plan, try not to deviate from it. You will eventually, because you're only human, and when you do, don't let it be anything more than a day. You know, you've had your binge, you've had a little bit of a breakout or whatever, that's fine. Tomorrow's a new day. Don't let it be a 3 or 4 day bender.
I think we can intercept it sooner though, can't we? You know, it might just be a pastry. Yeah. You know, like a pastry's not a day.
No.
A swallow's not a summer, that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I get to it as well where I know certain things. So, as I said previously, I've dieted before and I've had a cookie every day. At the minute, my thing's are Snickers. For whatever reason, it's a Snickers. You're just really satiating. I've stopped having protein bars. Because I'd have like a full fill bar because I like them. But I think they put something in them to make them, to start your appetite off. I'll have a Snickers and I could not eat all day. And I get to a point where, like, on a Tuesday normally, I'd be potentially working from maybe 6 a.m. till 7 or 8 p.m. If I've put a Snickers in it someday, I'll be on my way home. I'm like, I've got 1,500 calories left. Fuck, I've got to literally gorge myself when I get home. It's not optimal, but it's better than being, you know, you've been up since 6 and it's only midday and you've eaten all your calories. You're like, fucking hell, that's diabolical. But having sort of things in place where, like, it keeps you satiated, it keeps you sane, keep going. Because I used to, when it comes to like the M&S cookies, I'd be doing like a really tough session. I'd be doing like a chest session or whatever it is. And when you're really trying to grind out them last 2 reps, you say, 2 more. And I wouldn't even start saying 2 more to myself. I'd be like, you've got a cookie. You're going for your cookie. And I'd just keep going, just because I knew after this session, I can have my cookie, or I can have my, whatever it is that I'm using as a placebo to push me forwards, as like some form of carrot on a string, and it's just getting slightly closer the further towards the end of my training I get. And it's a bit of an extreme outlook to have, but if you're trying to achieve extreme things, you have to do weird shit.
It's a bit dodgeball, isn't it?
It's horrendous, yeah. It's stupid. And 100% I think it's actually insane, but I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to do insane things. That's how anything amazing ever got done.
Yeah.
Like, like Great Wall of China. Who the fuck wants to build that? You know, like Statue of Liberty, pretty mental really, but you've got to, it takes some lunatics to have some fantastic outcomes. And I say this all the time, like, anyone that can do anything that I can't do, I've just got nothing but respect for them. People that do these 40k runs on a weekend for laugh, fair enough, like, my knees couldn't handle it for starters, but fantastic. And anybody that wants to try, you know, I want to start swimming, I want anything, it could be anything, I'm just like, good. I can't do that. I've tried it and I'm terrible at it. I'm just really good at picking stuff up and putting it down, and sometimes changing how many times I do that. And that's and another fucking one of my many analogies I use for people struggling to get things right is like, have you seen Edward Scissorhands?
Yeah.
And he's fantastic at certain things, but when that girl needs a cuddle and she's crying and he wants to wipe her tears away, he's cutting her face to pieces. See, and I think for me, like, I've learned that what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, and I've just accepted it. This is where I've sort of said about making yourself less prickly. I said it with Gemma, like making yourself more aware of the way in which you do hurt yourself by hurting others. He'd have been devastated from that. Of course you would. And that, I never intended to do this, but
you did.
You had good intentions and the outcome was pretty bad. And I think as long as your intentions are good, sometimes that's actually okay. But if your intentions are good and you're still making a mess of things, you need to pump the fucking brakes because you're going to keep repeating this, and the only person that you're going to hurt anybody that you interact with, but you'll ultimately be devastated in yourself. And it's that phrase where, was it hurt people? Like, yeah, I've been that person physically. I've manifested it in my actions, in the way I've spoken to people before when I've been upset. You're going to get a fucking taste of that. Turns out that hurting you hurts me, then I'm more proficient at hurting you, which is only hurting me more. Need to stop this. Remove yourself from that scenario. And that can be really, as we become adults, we've got very creative ways of punishing ourselves. Some of us like to go to the gym, fair enough. Some of us like to pour ourselves into I suppose, a hobby, an interest, a passion. That can be great, but then also it could be alcohol, drugs, sex, it could be anything. And I think we get so much more creative at throwing tantrums when we're grown up because we've got access to other things. For me, I think that's where, when I realised that even though weight training and bodybuilding, it's the same, I'm still doing a row and I'm pushing and I'm just doing the same movements, but I'm doing it, and who I am inside isn't the same person. And once I realised that, I need to stop. So I think I've been kind of oddly blessed with my injuries because they forced me into stepping back and being like, right, whilst you can't do this thing you've always done, you've got to do something else. Yeah. And that might be the thing you've never done, which is have a look at yourself. Maybe look at, piecing yourself back together in the areas that you need to, so that when you can and you're able to, you can go back to doing what you love. Yeah, and I'm excited because I said this to Gemma the other day actually, like, when your fucking Instagram or your camera reel, I'll go, look at this thing where you looked amazing 4 or 5 years ago. It came up with one of my posing practice videos that I'd done, and I was like, you know what, I ain't done any posing practice for 2 years. I used to do it after every session just as a way to get keep my mobility up and everything else, and I've not done it at all. And I'm like, maybe that's also why I feel a little bit lost, because I started posing way before even thinking about competing. It was a way to look at my body, see where it needs to improve, but then also I kind of liked, for me, like, so obviously it kind of kept me in touch with my dancing roots and my background with dance and stuff. It kind of allowed me to just express myself in that respect. So sometimes I wouldn't even be really posing, I'd just be having a bit of a boogie, and you happen to just be like in your fucking pants. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens this year with competitions. I do need to really, well, as I am doing, just stay locked in really. Potentially first one would be end of May, but it's a universe qualifier, so it's one of those where if I did well on that, you'd have to stay for the following day. Okay. Most people tend to sort of go for the first day, and because you're not fully planning on getting through, because there's no guarantee you're going to get through. If you then get allowed to stay and you're like, oh, I was kind of looking forward to going home, because that's it. I think there's such a big adrenaline dump, you kind of just don't want to be there anymore. And I think that's where, when I've gone previously, or when I first started going, I didn't realise how murked you are afterwards. This is great. Back to reality, it's exhausting. And I think as I've become more mature in myself, understanding the toll it takes on you as a person, like I said, don't matter what place I finish in, because either way I've got to deal with the outcome of the aftermath. If I gave everything, the outcome afterwards, I am still the same person afterwards. I'm not any better or worse, I'm fucking murked. You are still somebody that gave everything to this pursuit, and now you've got to go back to work and be a normal person. And you've got your daughter. I always laugh when my daughter's here, because she's just like constantly on at me. And if she's not, Gemma's like question. And if they're not, Ripley is like yap. And we were having a right laugh last night, so I took my daughter home, got on the sofa. Gemma's got no questions for me or anything. She don't really want to sort of go over anything, because we'll normally have like we'll normally sort of touch base, and I'll be like, is there anything that's on your mind, anything you want to go over? And she's like, no, I'm great, thanks. On sofa. And I was like, oh, fuck's sake, bro. And she just starts laughing her head off. I was like, what do you want? And he just sits here staring you out, and he's like, yeah. I'm like, come on then, what do you want? So then I stroke him, and he'll lay down. As soon as you stop stroking him, he sits back up. And I'm just like, I can't have 5 minutes, but it's fine. Like, and this is it as well. I've been there's a version of me that nobody wants any of my time. I don't have access to my daughter. I don't have a cat that loves me to bits. I've not got a fiance that values my opinion and actually likes being around me. There's a version of me that's still sat in my room on my own, maybe in a different country doing something else, and that's fine. But wherever he is, I hope that he's okay. And I think about this all the time, like, you know, like when you've come here today and you've took a certain route and you went left, and there's another version that went right, and they've had a completely different day. Probably similar sort of goals and everything and pursuits, but a different day, a different outcome. And I think that's us in life in general. And I think where I am today is product, not the byproduct, the product of every decision that we've avoided, every decision that we made, and every freak interaction that's ever happened to us. And I think if we can get much more skilled at being able to assess things better, so that we can make a more informed decision and get a slightly more accurate, I'm not veering off, so we're still always kind of heading towards where we want to be. It might not be perfect. So another analogy I sort of give is when people feel like they're lost and they're not getting anywhere. If me and you spin around a million times here and we race to the end of the grass over here, it'll look different. I might be falling backwards and then eventually find my way forwards. You might be crawling, and you know eventually we're both going to end up there, but it'll look way fucking different. And those two people, that's you. It could be 10 people in a line. Don't fucking matter. They're all dizzy trying to get to where they want to be, and that's you with every decision you didn't make, every time you gave up, every time you persevered. And ultimately, I think you're heading in that right direction. But there might be one of you that falls through their fucking window, and he's got to apologise to some people and make up for a big amount of damages. And then somebody's falling in this bush, somebody's thrown up, somebody's just sort of crawling really slowly. And you're like, God, you're taking forever. We're still going to get there. And ultimately, within reason, we'll all end up where, I suppose, if you're aiming to get in that direction, as long as you're aiming towards what it is that you want, I do believe that you will fucking find your way forwards. And if you're in a position where you are struggling to do that, I think that's where you have to reach out for fucking help, man. And again, we're very fortunate people do that for us. It could be reaching out for help in any other area of life. I've had it where, you know, I've learned that I don't have the capacity to piece myself back together, so you seek professional help in those areas of your life. And I just think it's just an ever-changing thing. And you've said in some of them questions you've sort of sent me over, like, and I said to you earlier, my opinion on everything's changed. I'm more religious today than I've ever been. I'm not religious, but I understand why people are, because I see what it can and can't do. It can bring people together. It can also drive people as far apart as possible. But I've personally only ever experienced the positives. Anyone I've ever met is religious. They've always been 10 out of 10. They're lovely people. Changed so much in my outlook on things because I've changed my internal narrative. So I could never see anything the same, because I'm not the same person anymore. My outlook on everything's changed.
Appreciate it, lad.
Thanks, man.
It's been nice to just take some time.
Get tanned.
Yeah, maybe you more than me, but
Yeah.
my fake tan's faded from last week now.
Yeah.
Where would you like to send people, Luke, from here?
I would probably just say that there's something that always sort of sticks out for me the most, and it's just, if you need help, ask for it. And that's it. And if that means you've got to reach out for a professional, if you need to start therapy somewhere, please do so. Unfortunately for me, I'm not aware of any of the sort of more reputable ones in Nottingham. The place I used back in Sheffield was fantastic. It was a place in the city centre, so I can send you a link for that one. That was amazing. Sure. I mean, mental health and stuff's been a massive. It's kind of come on for whatever reason, like loads over the last sort of 4 or 5 years, and I think pandemic had a big role in that. So there's a lot more that you can do online with, like seeing an online therapist and things. So I think looking after yourself mentally, 100% is something you should do. Working with a coach, 100% something you can do. But I just sort of, anybody that's struggling with anything, you've just got to carry on and reach out for help when you need it, really. But in terms of sending people anywhere, to the fucking gym or a nice coffee shop. But yeah, I suppose it varies from the person to person. I've got, if nobody's following me, they can follow me. I am going to do my best to start putting more informative content out there, but I just think it's not that I don't have anything to offer. I just think there's so many people that do it to such a good degree that I feel like I don't need to add my in that ring in that respect. I'd rather send somebody, if they're looking for a certain type of content online, send them to that person. But I am going to start doing, I suppose, more like, I'm not going to say nuance, but just like things that kind of cross my mind. If people like it, they do, that's great. If they don't, that's also fine. Each to their own. But aside from that, that's all I've got to say about that.
We have no sponsors at the moment. I'm not looking for a penny, cent or peso from you, just for your support. If you like what we're up to, please do leave a 5-star review where you can. Please do leave a comment saying what you like, saying what you change, saying what it is that you do differently, and 100% share it with your friends, family, partners, workmates, whoever needs to hear the ideas that we're going to explore through this year and have already explored. Share it with them.